Hey everyone, and welcome. So today we're jumping into a really interesting case today. We're talking about Palantir, PLTR, a stock that a lot of people watch, and man, is it volatile. But here's the thing. Can you actually use that volatility to your advantage to create some income? We're going to break down one specific option strategy that aims to do just that. Let's get right into it. So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll get a handle on what's going on with PLTR right now. Then, we'll introduce the income strategy we're focused on today. From there, we'll lay out the exact trade step by step and, most importantly, get into the why behind it all before wrapping up with the big picture takeaway. Sound good? Let's go. All right, first things first, we have to set the stage. To really grasp why this strategy works, we've got to understand the playground we're in, and that means looking at Palantir's current stock situation. And that environment is, well, it's defined by some seriously big swings. Just look at this, a drop of over 7% in a single day. Now, for anyone just holding this stock, that's going to cause some heartburn for sure. But for an options trader, well, moves like this can actually spell opportunity. And that's exactly what we're here to talk about. Okay, so let's zoom in on the technicals for a second. The stock had a great run-up, but has since pulled back quite a bit. Now, what's really interesting here is this key support range. You see it? That's a price level where historically buyers tend to show up and prop the stock up. And to make things even more interesting, we've got a huge event coming up, earnings. That date is critical because everybody knows earnings calls inject a ton of uncertainty into the market, and that uncertainty, it makes options premiums go way up. So, we have this volatile stock with an event on the horizon. How do we play it for income? Well, that leads us right to our strategy of the day, the cash-secured put. For anyone who's new to this, let's break it down real simple. A cash-secured put is basically you getting paid to make a promise. You tell the market, hey, I'm willing to buy this stock at a certain price if it falls that low by a specific date. And just for making that promise, you collect cash, a premium right up front. You just have to have the money ready to actually buy the shares, which is why we call it cash-secured. The goal? The stock stays about your price, the option expires, and you just keep the cash. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so that's the theory, but let's get practical. How would we actually apply this strategy to Palantir right here, right now? Here is the exact game plan from our source material. The play is to sell to open a cash-secured put on PLTR. The chosen strike price is 127 with an expiration date of May 1st. For selling this one contract, you'd collect an estimated premium of about $65. But why these specific numbers? Well, that's the secret sauce. And this, right here, is probably the most important part of this whole explainer, the why. Let's really dig into the logic that makes this trade a solid, conservative play for income. When you boil it all down, the thinking behind this trade really comes down to three main interconnected reasons. So, reason number one, it's all about location, location, location. Remember that support level we talked about, around $128? Well, the strike price for this trade is set at 127. It's placed just below that support zone. This isn't just a random number. It's a calculated move to give yourself a little buffer, a cushion, just in case the stock dips. Reason number two is that this whole trade is designed to put the odds in your favor. In the world of options, there's a thing called delta, and you can think of it as a rough estimate of probability. This particular trade has a 10 delta, which is basically the market telling you it thinks there's only about a 10% chance that PLTR will actually be below $127 by the time the option expires. And let's flip that around, because this is where it gets powerful. If there's only a 10% chance of the stock falling below the strike price, that means there's a roughly 90% chance that it stays above it, a 90% chance that the option just expires worthless, and you walk away with the premium, no strings attached. Those are the kinds of odds we're looking for with an income strategy. And number three, this part is just plain smart. It's all about the timing. Notice the expiration is May 1st. But the big earnings call isn't until May 3rd. This is what's known as the earnings dodge. You see, right before earnings, uncertainty is super high, which pumps up the value of options. We call that premium juicy for a reason. So you get to collect that inflated premium, but then you're out. You close the trade before the actual announcement, completely avoiding that coin flip, nail-biting risk of a huge gap up or down. It's the best of both worlds. Okay, let's put it all together. What's the final verdict on this strategy when you look at all the pieces? Our source material really says it best. By picking a strike price below support, going for a high probability option, and getting out before the earnings chaos,
The trade is technically sound for a conservative income strategy. This isn't about swinging for the fences. It's about a disciplined, methodical approach to pulling income from the market.
And really, that brings us to the final question, and this one is for you. Is this kind of conservative, probability-driven strategy something that could fit into your own investing toolkit? It's a really powerful way to think about navigating these crazy, volatile markets. And that's all we have for this deep dive. I really hope you found this breakdown of a real-world strategy helpful. If you got some value out of it, do me a favor and hit that like button. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next explainer. Thanks so much for watching.